Today, we are going to explore the depths of your mind. And it's far out, man. Well, not really, but a growing number of people are using chatbots like ChatGPT as trip sitters while they're under the influence of psychedelics. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the AI for Everyone Daily Brief. Here's a topic not a lot of my AI peers are talking about, but I think it's an important topic. It opens a window. It lets us look into a mirror as to maybe why and how we're using AI the way that we're using it. There's a growing trend in people who are taking psychedelics, mushrooms, LSD, ketamine, and instead of hanging out with friends, instead of doing this with a therapist, instead of going on one of these ayahuasca retreats, they're just taking their dose and hanging out with ChatGPT. Now, in one hand, this kind of sounds weird, but on the other, ChatGPT is acting like a shaman, this kind of bridge between the spiritual and physical world. So I understand why people would do that. And if you really look at the core of why they do that, and I'm going to quote this because the idea is really simple here, and it's something that we can carry over into almost all these videos that I'm making about the core of what people want and why when it's a more intimate thing that they're turning to ChatGPT, because they want to talk to someone who listens without judgment. It really is that simple why so many people are turning to this as a friend, as a mentor, as a lover. Things are going to get weird and freaky, but humanity as a whole, especially since 2020, has become isolated and lonely and depressed. And this judgment that's all over the place, people just want to escape that, whether that's through drugs, digital, a ChatGPT bot, whatever that is, that's what people are flocking to. I can tell you on the most basic of human level, it is nice to talk to somebody who doesn't judge you. Anybody who's been in a fight with their spouse or a friend and then you make up, well, you typically come back to realize that somebody wasn't listening, or there was a miscommunication, or there was a lack of awareness, and people feel right now that these chatbots are filling some of those voids. Now, what worries me as a person of faith, and here's a quote from somebody on Reddit, it felt like talking to God, a polite, neutral, thoughtful God. Yeah, that's a little bit alarming, but look, I was a deadhead. I am a deadhead, and I had a season where I did travel around with the Grateful Dead, and I had some of these experiences. So I do understand the opening areas of your mind, the creative, kind of this other realm that's sitting there. You will get very philosophical. You will have some very deep conversations, but then you will also, like, all of your senses are heightened. So lights are really extra beautiful and sounds are more interesting and all of that. So I totally understand it. But as a person of faith, I struggle between, is this just opening up things in our mind that typically just aren't open, but we should have some access to? Or is this opening up demonic portals of areas that we should not be messing around with? But this video is not about ethics, morals, religion. This video is simply about something that people are doing. They're turning to ChatGPT, and the real reason why they're doing it is just, I just want somebody to listen to me without judgment. That's it. So why does this matter? Because on the surface, this does just sound like another internet trend. But if you zoom in and really look deep, like I'm trying to with this video, you're going to see something much more revealing. People are turning to AI in their most unfiltered, uncensored, no ego state. Think about that. And instead of a friend, a therapist, confidant, a mentor, or even choosing silence, they're going straight to a synthetic AI chatbot. And this is intimate. At the same time, it's unnerving. And it's hard to really know how to think and process that, because we're lacking something right now in humanity as far as this human connection that 2020 kind of ripped us fully apart. We've tried to come back, but there's so much division and battle and everything that's going on right now. People are turning to, I mean, you go on social media now, you look at some of the comments in some of my videos, like some of these can be brutal and you got to have thick skin. Well, not everybody has thick skin. If you read comments or you go online and you have a debate or an argument with somebody, it can get very, very brutal, very personal. And if you're not somebody with thick skin, you can take that home with you. Cyberbullying is something that happens quite a bit. So should we be alarmed that people are turning to this? Well, I do think there is a massive positive, because if it does fill at least a temporary void, I don't think this should be your permanent solution. But if it fills a temporary void of loneliness, I think that's great. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're feeling depressed, suicidal, whatever that is, you just need somebody to talk to and nobody's available, well, ChatGPT is there. I think that is very valuable. But we also have to understand that AI is not trained truly at this point to be a therapist, to be a guide of somebody on psychedelics, because bad trips happen too. And if you've ever been around or experienced or anything of a bad trip, it takes some navigation of that. I don't share these stories very often, as now I'm older and my faith is much stronger. But again, I did have a period of time in my life where we were doing this quite a bit. And I'll never forget it. We had one experience where we were with a group of us. We went to a concert. We were coming back from said concert. And the one gentleman we were with started just having a terrible trip, freaking out, started ripping all of his clothes off, got totally naked, was standing in the middle of a busy street and just screaming and just kind of going wild. Well, none of us at 20 some years old were qualified to know quite how to handle this scenario.
You just did the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
And we're all in our 20s, so tackling a naked man in the middle of the street was not something that was comfortable for any of us. But we did it, and we got him covered up, and we got him back to his home, and we got him there safely and all of that. But my point with that is these things do happen, and we could have made a dire mistake through this process that could have got this gentleman killed or any of us killed by acting in this way. So my point with sharing that with you is ChatGPT right now is as qualified as I was to handle that situation back in 1991, whatever that was. So how does this impact you? Understand, this is not a story about drugs. This is a story about who people are trusting when they're most vulnerable, when they're lonely, because AI is now a part of this emotional landscape. I did a video right here of a gentleman who fell in love with his AI and got so distraught when she lost her memory that he cried. Okay, so this is happening. People are being impacted by this. AI is already a part of our everyday life, at least for many of us. ChatGPT was the fastest growing platform in history. Grok just released a companion who is overtly sexual if you look at it. ChatGPT has their own chatbot that you can speak to and use. It's incredible the way that we're using it. And I can tell you, I use it to relieve stress before I go speak to a group. I use it to make me feel better when I just, look, man, I'm struggling. I need some positive affirmations, and it'll give me those positive affirmations. I've asked it for advice when I've had conflict on I made a video right here of how I used it during a time of conflict when I was starting my business. So I consider myself a pretty macho, testosterone-filled guy, but these are the authentic, open ways. I'm just being transparent with you on how I'm using them. So I'm sure a lot of you are doing the same thing, and we don't need to be ashamed of it. I think we need to talk about it. So the question here isn't whether AI should be in the room, because it already is. The question is, are we ready Are we ready for what happens as more and more people start using this, especially without training? Again, this is why I created Launch Ready AI. Please like, subscribe, comment, spread this message. AI literacy is everything. This is going to move so quickly, so rapidly. And if you don't have a base understanding of AI, how to use it, and in all of that, this is not technical. This is grabbing your wisdom out of you and putting it, guiding the intent of the system, using it to empower you, to amplify you. Because if you don't do that and you avoid that, it's going to crush you and it's going to make you invisible. I don't want that to happen. That's why I formed this company. That's why I'm doing a video every day. That's why I'm trying to cover topics that not everybody else is. Oh, and one more thing. Come here. Now, we have been asking for years, when will AI become sentient? And if you don't know what that means, it means to have awareness, consciousness, to be human. But maybe the more important question here is this. If we as humans are seeking wisdom from AI when our guard is down, what does that say about the world that we're trying to escape? And our time has come to an end. I hope this created value for you. I hope it got you thinking a little bit more about how you use it. Please hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment, get in the conversation. I want to make sure that nobody gets left behind. Well, my name is Harrison Painter. This has been your AI for Everyone Daily Brief. And until next time, keep creating, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep up. God bless.
Thanks for listening. I'm glad you